Right, Josh, what did you do to celebrate, mate? Because all Chelsea fans have been celebrating non-stop since that draw with Arsenal, haven't we?
Honestly, the lobster before wasn't enough. So what I did is I went with you to get a lobster after.
There you
Just
go.
2 lobster a day. That's just how we roll now.
We are like lobsters.
Why? Because we've mated together
We've
for
mated
life.
together and we never change. Yeah.
I hope we haven't mated.
No, but we're mates.
Welcome back to the show.
By the way, listen, I just had to get that in there straight away to address it because there is a narrative, as always, going on around Chelsea Football Club after our draw yesterday with Arsenal, which we will determine whether it was disappointing, encouraging. We'll get into all of that. But the narrative is that Chelsea fans are celebrating a draw and the Arsenal fans are disappointed with it, and it shows the difference in mentality. Now, we've only had the pleasure of speaking to one Arsenal fan this morning. He definitely wasn't thinking along those lines. Do you think that's the case?
I'm not celebrating in any undue way, but also I think it was a wonderful performance. Like, I'm really proud of the boys and the way they came out in the second half and they grinded out a result. Let's not forget about this. We could have easily won that game.
Easily.
We had so many other chances. And this is the thing, like, you can celebrate a draw and be happy with it, but know that you could have got more. And let's be honest, the red card wasn't a red card. We're in friendly ground now. Like, when we're talking on the kickoff, sometimes you can't say these things because people shout you down. Yep. Unfairly, I will say, unfairly. But let's be honest, between you and I, it's a fucking joke of a red card. Anthony Taylor is given the Chelsea games again. I never want to see him in charge of any football match that Chelsea are even related to. Even if it's an international tournament and he's got a Chelsea player playing in the tournament, I do not want him anywhere near those games because you could list the games over and over again. Are you going to be able to list them?
That he's ruined.
That he's ruined. Harry Maguire kicks who in the balls? Disgrace.
Who was it?
I can't even remember who it was. I think it might have been Reece.
The problem is there's just no fucking consistency there at all. Like in that game, yeah, all right, if you want to call it a red, that's fine. But then you've probably got to call 2 more reds, haven't you?
Like, again, right, I feel sometimes like I'm going mad. And I'm watching the game and I see an elbow. And I then thought, I watched the highlights afterwards, Joey, and I was sat there thinking, do you know what? I'm probably wrong. It probably wasn't that bad and the elbow wasn't that serious. And I rewatched it. And then what I did is I watched the Nicholas Jackson one. And
Whole game against Newcastle we watched, actually, just to get his facts right.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? It wasn't dissimilar.
Not too much in it, is there?
And then I went and I had a look at the Cucurella tackle on Sanchez, and I'm thinking, do you know what? Maybe he was going for the ball. Maybe Sanchez didn't have his hands on it. No. Sanchez had 2 hands on the ball, in control of it completely, and then Cucurella comes in, cleans him straight out. He could have done that could have been a Petr Cech moment.
Yeah, and let's be honest, as a player, you know what your traits are, you know what you like. Cucurella will know that he's clumsy. He's a clumsy player. I mean, Jacob said to us earlier, yeah, there was one when it got nicked off Cucurella at the back stick. Don't take that as it's a goal. Don't take that. He misses sitters.
Just separately, right? What out of those 2 incidents in particular, the Cucurella and the Caicedo incidents, what tackle could have done more damage?
Cucurella is a more dangerous challenge, 100%. And not only that, you've got to remember, you're going in there with the only player on the field who you know can legally kind of be at that level. So you already know what you're facing when you rush in against the goalkeeper in comparison to, let's say, for example, 2 midfielders coming together.
And also, right, I don't even care if neither of those are red cards, but then Caicedo shouldn't have been a red card. The referee made the right decision at the time. He gave him a yellow. Right? Let's move on for it. We keep reanalyzing it. And do you know what? This keeps happening over and over again. The Gusto one against Aston Villa. Never a red card. It goes to VAR. Have to look at it. So many of these things that keep happening to us.
It's only 2 years ago. Don't say that we don't
I know, we
things.
don't fucking think about it. But it just... I think the boy said this right earlier on, and you do need to watch the kickoff video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go and subscribe to the kickoff because it's a huge channel that we are both on very regularly. But you can't just keep reanalyzing and over again on the games. You can't do it.
Otherwise, where does it stop? Because where do you draw a line in terms of if you're disciplining players for those sort of challenges, then you're going to have to look at maybe 7 or 8 replays
but
in
also,
that game.
you're ruining the game.
The
And
fan
this is what
experience as well.
This is what they were saying. Like, you know, Brian is a complete neutral in this, and he goes, "I'm sitting down on Super Sunday. I'm really excited for a top of the table clash, which has huge ramifications on the rest of the league, and we could have completely shaken up the title race. In fact, I think we still are in the title race. Spoiler alert.
Yep.
Don't care what anyone else says, right? But it ruins ruined the game. Even though it did ruin the game, we still performed incredibly well. And I'm so proud of the boys. But it's a spectacle that was sort of unnecessarily adjusted in the way that the flow of the game was going to go. Let's be honest, and let's get into this now. But the way that we were playing, we were looking so good. We had so many chances, even after that point, let alone before it. And Moises Caicedo's implication and the way that he would have played in the rest of that game, he would have affected the game in a completely different way. And we would have had more options to bring off the bench because we had a super strong bench. We would have won the game. And I'll have every Arsenal fan out if they believe that they would have won that game because their performances were dire.
Do you know why I think that the original statement that I sort of read earlier was completely different? I thought it was the other way around. I think I've seen more Arsenal fans celebrating the draw. I think I've seen more Arsenal fans making excuses for the draw. And also, like, I'm not being funny. If you're talking about reaching for celebrations, right? I'm sorry this has no structure, it's a bit of a rant. But if you're talking about reaching big time for celebrations, then you lot are fucking reaching, claiming that Bukayo Saka pocketed Cucurella. He had one moment of success against him. He had one moment. And do you know what it is, yeah? When you're a winger that has whipped a ball over the top and put a ball into the box, do you even class it as a moment of success? It's not like you went for him in a 1v1 and beat him, is it? You dinked the ball over the top. There's something in life called actual physics, which means that you should be able to get a ball over the top of another man who can at best jump to about 6 foot in the air.
There's something in life called copium. Right? And the fact of the matter is, we watched it live in person. He had to switch wings.
Pocketed.
And Jacob could say all he wants that they swap wings all the time. But we know that he couldn't deal with the smoke of Cucurella over and over again, making him do nothing. Absolutely nothing for the entirety of the game. Cucurella is a baller.
I just want to read to you, right? This is an article, The Athletic. So I know, speaking of Jacob reads this, I know he does. Quite well respected. Fatigue was as much Arsenal's enemy as Chelsea on Sunday. Fatigue, yeah.
Fatigue. Why are they tired?
Well, they've obviously just played much more football, done loads more travelling than us, innit?
Yeah, I'm sure they have.
Since the international break, Arsenal have had 2 home games, yeah? Since the international break, we had a 12:30 kickoff in Burnley. Yep. No offence, who wants to go to Burnley?
Yeah, on a cold night.
We had a 12:30 kickoff in Burnley, and then we welcomed, that was it, the Spanish champions on Wednesday night. So, not really the exact
This
same.
is the thing, right? Arsenal fans and Arsenal commentators, they will keep going on and on about this, but what they always do more than anything is love to bring up an excuse. And let's just go bat for bat on the excuses, can we, for a second? Just humour me for a second. Arsenal had lots of injuries for the game.
Yeah, we had 10 men, unfairly.
But also, Joey, we also had injuries.
No, we didn't. No.
Our best centre-back, injured.
Cole Palmer doesn't play centre-back,
Cole Palmer, injured, right? We had significant injuries in the same way that they had injuries. Fatigue. We played the same amount of games as them. We played it just as difficult opposition as them. Any other excuses they want to bring up?
I can't be bothered to hear many of their excuses at this moment in time, to be completely honest with you, because I look at yesterday's game and I think Chelsea were fucking brilliant, if I'm being completely honest. Do you know what the biggest compliment that I can give Chelsea is? And it might be in line with having 3 or 4 pints, but the biggest compliment that I can give Chelsea is in that second half, I turned around to you and went, fucking hell, I forgot we were playing with 10 men.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like it, did it?
3 or 4, by the way.
Yeah. Listen, why do you think Benson's not here?
No, do you know what? It was one of those performances, and look, let's be honest, Joey, we have had a lot of 10-men performances recently, so we are fairly used to it.
Yeah.
But the manager didn't panic, the players didn't panic, and more than anything, in terms of not panicking, they also, every single one of them, to a man, stepped up. And you're looking at players like a Reece James, which we'll talk about in more detail later on, right? But stepped up to the plate, hasn't been playing as much football as he would want in, the last year or so, right? Significant injuries. And yet he steps up, takes the captain's armband and cares about it. And I think more than anything, we keep hearing commentators go on and on and on about there's no leadership in the Chelsea squad. They're never going to win a title because they've got a team of young kids that will never amount to anything. They're going to need 4 or 5 years to gel together. We've got leaders throughout the entire team now. Like, let's just talk about them. Reece James, captain. Enzo Fernandez has been a captain for Chelsea, also captained Argentina. Moises Caicedo leads by example on the pitch. Cole Palmer, now part of the leadership group, and again cares, not even involved in the squad, but still goes into the dressing room and wants to make himself known. Trevoh Chalobah steps up again. Huge moments and brings players together, celebrates like he is a captain. And even Wesley Fofana, again, leading by example and performing incredibly well.
You know, you said about the manager holding his nerve there.
Yeah.
What did you make of the Esteval substitution? Because when Esteval was subbed off, it was hard for me to tell in the ground. I think there might have been a double sub at halftime. It was hard for me to tell in the ground.
Just one.
Was it just the one?
Yeah, just the winger.
So I didn't realise, right, when he was subbed off, he was getting subbed off for Garnacho, right? Garnacho comes on. Obviously, look, it was hard for anyone to make a significant impact in terms of scoring and whatnot. But when you look at that, would you agree with that? Because I look at Esteval in that game yesterday. In the first half, I thought he was really good for us. And I thought that he looked like probably our best attacking threat.
I'm going to piss you off.
You didn't rate him?
Look, I love Esteval. I think he's the future and the truth of Chelsea. And I cannot wait to see him start more games because he deserves it, right? First point I'm going to make, I think Enzo Maresca made a slight error here because it's a very big game to put a very young player into. And I personally, this might be hindsight, but I personally might not have started him. And I might look like an idiot, and fair enough for calling me an idiot in the comments if you disagree. But I think there's a point there that a more experienced player might have been a more safe pair of hands.
I can see a world where you look and you go, Garnacho and Neto against the bigger teams is probably going to give you more of what you'd want before a match, which is more certainty in terms of how is this going to go. I can see a point where they're a little bit more in line with prepping for a game and then chucking Esteval on and thinking you can make a significant impact. The only thing I'll argue against it, mate, is at the time of being subbed off, for Chelsea, most expected goals, most shots, most successful take-ons, most touches in the opponent's box. So whether or not you agree with the final product, which I know people were bantering and whatnot, there is a lot of weight there to the fact that he was our most attacking player.
Yeah, and this is the thing, though, is that there was moments where there was some youthful exuberance that I saw in that first half performance when there were passes on or you have to get the ball on target that he didn't quite manage to do. And again, this is not me slagging him off, right? I think this happens and I've been so impressed with his performances. But you also have to be not critical when you're like, put yourself in Enzo Maresca's shoes.
Yep.
You've got a very hard second half. You've got a player that has missed a couple of chances, got in the right areas, but has missed chances.
I'll add one more to it, by the way, and the records won't show this. Only me and you will know this from watching them. A player who maybe his discipline record doesn't actually match what we've seen on the pitch. And this is what I'm saying, right? You're down to 10 men. Last thing you want to do,
get another sending off.
Sending off.
Yeah.
And probably most likely sometimes to get sent off is actually Esteval. I've seen a couple of challenges this season where I'm like, you got yellows there. Another red ref might have given you a red in that situation.
Even if you were a little bit older, maybe the referees might say, it's not youthful exuberance, and he should be sent off potentially. So I think there are lots of reasons, and another one that I will just give before we move on is that Pedro Neto is better on the right. So I think you make him worse to fit Esteval into the team in some moments.
Should we debunk the whole Saka getting the better of Cucurella? Because I've got a very simple way to just do it here.
Go on.
Saka, as you say, switched wings. Not only that, Cucurella played the fucking whole match on a yellow card, more or less. Have you seen what minute he got booked in?
And can I also just say, go back and watch that first yellow card. It was a disgrace. So he shouldn't have even been on a yellow card in the first place. Saka, and they had the audacity, Joey, to say that we were the ones diving around.
Yep.
Like earlier on the kickoff, please watch the video because we went for the Arsenal fans and you'll enjoy it if you do. But they had the audacity to say we were the ones diving around and we were the ones making the meal out of everything. And he makes out that he's fucking seriously injured when Cucurella basically won the ball, right? It's completely ridiculous.
I think off the back of yesterday's performance, I'm pretty happy with us going forward, but I'm definitely not happy with the result. But I will say one thing, right? Do you know after we lost that game to Man United, I felt that with the suspension now looming for Robert Sanchez, which was coming after that game, obviously getting himself sent off, with the fact that we were deep within a crisis when it comes to red cards. Like, I know we're coming off the back of a game where we've had another red card, but at that time it looked like we couldn't complete a full 90 with 10 men on the field. And not only that, our star player out, right? I then looked at this little run of fixtures because we've had a few clusters of games which look quite hard, but there was a really hard-looking run where we had Brighton, Liverpool. This is as well as other teams, by the way. This is as well as some other teams we faced in that time. But we had a run where we had Brighton, Liverpool, Spurs, Barcelona, and Arsenal all before we even got into December. Yeah? I looked at that run and I thought, those games specifically are going to be difficult ones for us.
We did lose to Brighton, didn't we?
Nope. We've taken... No, we won that game. We've taken 13 out of 15 points of... Oh, no, we did lose to Brighton.
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah, so sorry.
So that was the shit result, though.
Yeah,
we should have won that game.
Brighton was the one
that
where
was
we
3-1, wasn't
towards the end. Yeah. Red card and then Welbeck come on. It was even... I was doing the stream for that one, and when Welbeck come on, I was like, oh, fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to get here. But 10 points out of 15 available, I think is something that I would have probably looked at and gone, do you know what? I'll probably take that before you offer it to me.
Yeah.
With the context now, it feels a bit sickening that we haven't got 15 out of 15. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that Brighton game was a joke, first of all.
It's 5 points dropped, isn't it?
However
you look at it, that it's 5 points dropped. The Brighton game, sending off, goals late in the game. I think their first goal, which was the equaliser, came in the 77th minute or something like that. Player that didn't even start the game was converting for them. I think that we got unlucky in that game. I think that we got unlucky yesterday. And I think that I look at it overall, and I'm really happy with where we're at this moment in time. Before the ball was kicked this season, I looked at it and I thought, you know what? I've not actually got much leverage in terms of my expectations. Like, I'm saying, like, I won't be surprised if we finish third, and I'd like us to finish third, but I think it's, you know, maybe third would be the highest in the league. We'll definitely qualify for Europe. I think we're going to win the Champions League. Nothing's changed there at this moment in time, and to be honest, now I'm kind of looking at it, and I'm hoping for even more than that. I'm hoping we can really push on here. 1 or 2 injuries, you could say this about every team, but 1 or 2 serious injuries could derail Arsenal. And once that happens, it is fair game. Anyone who wants it can step up to the plate. I truly believe that. I've watched Manchester City. I think City are looking shit. I think that they're stumbling over the line half the time. And I think that actually, for a neutral fan, they're more exciting, this team, and they're a better watch this season. They're a better team to watch this season. But at the same time, I don't look at Man City and think, yeah, definite City win any game they play in the league at this moment.
Well, look, at the end of the day, everything is a positive for Chelsea because we go into the season and we think we're fighting for a Champions League place and we'd be happy with top 4. And now we're in it. And no other Premier League fan now can say that Chelsea are not in the race. Like, we might not win the race, but we're definitely running it. And the fact of the matter is we've played the previous champions who, fair enough, were in a down moment, but you still got to beat what's in front of you. Yep. And we very clearly beat Liverpool. And then
they weren't in a down moment last season when we played them.
Yeah, exactly.
Them, so yeah.
So, and also, we're playing the champions-elect now in Arsenal, who, quite frankly, with the amount of points they are clear, should run rampant through the league right now and should really make everyone else look stupid. And we've gone toe-to-toe for them. And let's be honest, with a different referee on a different day, we would have won the game.
Can I tell you my biggest improvement that I'm seeing at this moment in time? Is defensive. The defensive improvement, I think, is very, very clear.
Can I give one person a bit of credit then?
Go on.
As a result of that? I think we need to maybe apologise to Wesley Fofana because I think his performances recently have been exemplary. I think his performances
needs to
have been
I've always backed him.
Yeah, well, there you go. I'll put my hands up. I'll put my hands up now and say I didn't think that Wesley Fofana, after his injuries, would be able to 1, get a run of games, 2, have a run of games where the performances were good. And I think he has proven me wrong. I think he's proven a lot of other people wrong. And now he would be the first choice for me in the defensive position.
Ahead of Trev?
Centre backs. Yep. Ahead of Trev, but also like probably equal with Trev. You know, but we're not playing the game.
Well above a toss-in or someone like
that.
Well
above a toss-in. Miles above a toss-in.
And what that does, and I'm happy you've done that, is shine a light. Because most people will say, well, the fee was ridiculous. He was never around 80 million or whatever he came to us for Fofana. And I understand that. But what you've got to say is it shines a huge light on Trevoh Chalobah and just how good Trevoh Chalobah is. Trevoh Chalobah was a player that we were willing to let go to Crystal Palace for what, 25, 30 mil, something like that?
I'm not going to lie, it makes me a bit emotional sometimes when I'm watching Trevoh Chalobah. We sit in the East Upper, and I think what us as Chelsea fans always adore more than anything is the boys that come through Cobham and they actually care. And this is the thing. You saw it with Reece James and the way that he was celebrating certain moments yesterday. And the celebration that Trevoh does after his goal, which I just want to say I did call.
Yeah, you did. Before the corner even come in, me and Josh were sat there, and he went, "We're scoring this."
Yeah, Joracle.
Spoiler alert.
They call me the Joracle. They call me the. I'd watched it before on TV. I was on a delay in the ground.
No, you was Cobham this week. Pinboard. You've seen how many of these ones have been whipped in.
Exactly, and the celebration that he does, it just shows how much this means to him. And again, in modern football, we don't have many moments like this as fans where we connect with the players in a peer-to-peer way as if they're one of us.
Yep.
And that moment, Reece James with the corner whips it in. Trevoh gets his head on it. They both wheel away and celebrate in front of the Matthew Harding. I don't think moments as Chelsea fans get much better than that.
You know, when you kind of speak about like academy graduates who have kept the faith, like Reece James and Trevoh Chalobah, I look at it, right? And I think, do you know what? There's some, and people debate this, and you've debated me a bit at times a bit. There's some that jumped at the first opportunity, in my opinion. A Mason Mount, for example, thought that the better opportunities were going to be in Manchester, and I understand that. Like, it is what it is.
If he's a Man United fan, I almost don't care anymore. If he's a Man United fan, good luck to him.
Exactly. He's a Portsmouth boy, Man United fan. Don't really care. Do you know what I mean? There's other players like Conor Gallagher who have grafted their arse off, but at some point have had an opportunity and you go, do you know what? Maybe you weren't in the manager's first team plans and maybe you've gone elsewhere. You don't feel nothing bad towards them, right? But there's Trevoh Chalobah and probably Trevoh Chalobah only in a one-man club. When I would actively say he's the only player in the Chelsea team that if he had have left, if he had have turned us down for someone else, if he had have gone elsewhere, I'd have gone, fair play, mate, fair play. Because at the end of the day, you do keep going back to the partner that's cheated on you in a weird way with Trevoh Chalobah. I think that we've mistreated Trevoh Chalobah as both a club and to a way lesser extent, maybe as a fan base at times, maybe some of us not rating him where he should be. I'm very, very glad I've always had my sort of Trevoh Chalobah stance on this podcast.
I'm really glad that you've backed him and you've said that he's one of your favourite players because I don't think many people Chelsea fans would put him anywhere near their top three players. I haven't been saying
it like recently. I've always told you since we met
you've
that
sold
Trev's
it.
my favourite.
Yeah, which even when you first said it to me, I was like, what? Why are you even including him? But the way that he performs week in, week out, and again, we talk about consistency. He's consistent. He never has a stinker. He never makes a huge mistake. And again, we were doing the player review video, the ratings. And again, if you haven't watched that video, I strongly suggest you do because it was actually quite an interesting and controversial video, actually. But there were comments within that video saying that he was at fault for the Sunderland goal, that his performances weren't that good this season, that he'd actually fallen off. And I just think those people are just plain wrong. I just think they're just so wrong. I think without Trevoh, we would be in a moment where we're playing various other players, and I don't think they would be consistent week on week. I think we'd be rotating that position because of injuries, etc., right? And he is just that one player that you just know he's going to be solid. And again, he doesn't miss back post headers. He doesn't miss blocks. He is very good with his passing. He's very good with his dribbling out of the back as well. And occasionally, he'll score a wonderful goal like he scored.
For a player to be that consistent, that reliable, and also put in performances to the level that he does without much of... it doesn't really vary that much. He's not. You can normally rely on Trev for the sort of performance you put in. For a player to be like that, historically, throughout the Premier League, growing up a Premier League fan, I would say that you're looking at a 30-year-old, a 31-year-old defender to be able to show that level of maturity. Not a 26-year-old. A 26-year-old, by the way, who's not just been first team since he was 20. Do you know what I mean? He's not a first choice, I should say, in the first team since he was 20. Someone that's had to go out on loan as recent as last season. You know what I mean? It really does speak volumes of Trevoh Chalobah in that situation.
And also, it's mentality. Like, we were having a conversation in a cab ride recently about what sort of player you would want in your team. Like, would you want players that were elite technical players but dickheads, right? And Trevoh is one of those players that he's grown with all of the circumstances that he's had. He's had so many down moments, so many moments where he could have been out of the club. And he's grown with that. But also, he is a humble boy and he cares about the football club, right? And I think if we can pack our team with as many of those as we possibly can, we will be onto a winner in terms of building a squad that could go and compete in the Premier League. And I'm really glad that we have more players like that, like Esteval. Amazing mentality, very, very similar. You know, even Enzo, I think, is very similar mentally. Caicedo, you could go on. There's so many players that they don't have a huge ego. They care about the club and they want to win. And I think you saw that in various moments.
I'm going to move on to another man that I think we need to give a bit of a shout out to because maybe he doesn't always get it as much. But before I do that, I just want to tell you this, right? You know, in that first half, 10 minutes of which I'd say Arsenal played against 10 men, right? Arsenal had 2 touches in the Chelsea box. I believe both of them were touches going backwards anyway, so not really, you know, might as well have none. They did nothing. And I think that there does come a point when you've got to stop even phrasing it the way I just did and saying, yeah, Arsenal did nothing, because are all these teams shit then? Are Barcelona shit? Are Arsenal shit? Are PSG shit? Because when they play Chelsea, they don't seem to play very well, do they?
But this is the thing, like, I think people that watch Chelsea, or so I should say people that don't watch Chelsea, are the ones going, do you know what? Chelsea have a really leaky defence. They keep rotating their players. They've got some very suspect defending there. The goalkeeper actually isn't even that good. Again, we were talking about this earlier on. And it is just ironic when you actually do look at the data. Our performances have been really, really good. Our defensive performances. In fact, I think Robert Sanchez is the second most clean sheets in the Premier League now.
There's an indication there of someone who listens to various different outlets but doesn't watch Chelsea very often. Go over to them and say, do you think Robert Sanchez is any good? Yeah. If someone watches Chelsea often, they'll go, do you know what, right? He's a lot better than I thought he was. And actually, I think he's been coming up really important in big moments from recently. But someone who doesn't watch Chelsea will go, nah, he's not very good, is he?
But this is the thing. 2 wonderful saves yesterday.
Yeah.
2 wonderful saves. Like moments in which you go, oh, fuck, that's going in the back of the net. That's a wonderful shot.
Can I just say, not just wonderful saves, by the way, saves that you could argue maybe a season or two ago he's not making, which shows a huge amount of improvement. And I truly believe that. I think that Trevoh Chalobah, I think that Robert Sanchez has been improved probably for quietly coming up about 10 months now, where I've been like, do you know what? I'm really not worried. And yes, there's a flash in the pan in there, obviously that red card against Man United, but ultimately it happens from time to time. We do get players red carded. I think that Robert Sanchez has been vital recently for us. And I also think that one of the things that took way longer, but I'm very, very thankful that it's finally now happening, is he does have that ability to play out from the back. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, look, there were some moments in the first half where there was a bit dodgy, and I think the crowd did get on his back. I think harshly, I would say. But yeah, his distribution has been really good. What I really like more than anything is the really long balls that he's putting over the back of the defence. And again, if we'd had 11 men, it would have enabled a body to be closer to João Pedro, and we would have had more chances. And I think that pass, I don't think there are many goalkeepers in the Premier League that can hit the ball as long and as direct now. This isn't saying in the past, because people will laugh at that, now as Robert Sanchez, because you don't have Edison anymore, right? I don't see Alisson doing that often anymore, either for Liverpool. And
hard
so
to when you're just defending all the time.
Yeah, and so there's not that many goalkeepers that are doing that. So I think he deserves his flowers, but also I think it's an injustice to not collectively say the defence as a unit, and I also include Caicedo and Enzo in this as well. Bearing in mind they're the ones that are sitting in front of them. That unit has been very solid for a very long time and underestimated by a lot of people for a very long time. And that comes from every single one of them. I think all of them have been really good. Even Malo Gusto, who I've criticised several times for being weak on the back post or weak with balls over the top, his defensive work against Arsenal, which are not an easy team to defend against, was decent. I think I think Gusto was hard done by because he had 2 men on the back post for their goal.
So coming away from yesterday's game, it's a hard question I have to ask. Should Chelsea fans be annoyed at Moises Caicedo? Because we heard it on the kickoff earlier on when we were talking about this, and it was almost explained as if Caicedo had a little bit of a disciplinary problem, which kind of surprised me at the time. I wish I'd have had my facts ready. I needed to look into this to even look it up. It's his first red card for Chelsea. It's his first red card in club football, I believe. I think the only one came for Ecuador. I think that with the games coming up, I mean, Leeds away and Bournemouth away are going to become a lot harder without Caicedo. But I do think that when you're talking about how hard something is without a player, really it's a compliment towards them, isn't it?
It is. And also, right, people might laugh again for this, but we could do with Moises Caicedo having a bit of time off.
100%.
He did an interview on your favourite publication, The Athletic, who you've slagged off extensively there, which we just want to say I actually read The Athletic, I quite like it. But they have got it.
I don't read.
They have got that one wrong. But there was an interview that he did where he was saying, I constantly play with pain. I've got a knee problem, but I just want to give my absolute all for the team, and I will play through the pain if that means that I can get on the pitch, right?
I hope the other clubs are listening to that. No point coming in from his injury prone.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
bother. Don't bother.
Exactly. But the fact is he's still playing through things. Now it's an enforced move, because let's be honest, no manager in the world will willingly bench Moises Caicedo because he adds so much to the team that you can't bench him, right? But now, I agree with you, we will be a worse team without him. But also, you forget, Andre Santos has been playing incredibly well. Dario Isugu is now back in full training and is the natural deputy for Moises Caicedo, and also looked really good when he played, right? So, yes, obviously, we are a worse team without Moises Caicedo. However, the forced break, allowing him to have a bit of a rest, be fully fit for that Christmas period where we know it's going to be incredibly difficult and there's going to be games coming at us left, right and centre. And we can now see how good Andre Santos truly is.
Yeah, can I give it the other spin as well, which you're kind of providing there for me in terms of being able to rest him, which is really, really important.
Yep.
But not only that, if you had to pick a 3-game period for Caicedo to miss those 3 games, I think you'd be scrolling back through our fixtures a couple of seasons before we've had a 3-game period.
What is the third game? Because it's Leeds and Bournemouth. What's the third game? Do you know?
Everton, I believe.
Everton.
Yeah, at home, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you. Like, the Bournemouth game, I would have loved to have had him there, right? The Leeds game, I think there might have been a tactical moment where you go, do you know what? You probably do need to rest him anyway.
I think you just go and outscore Leeds, to be completely honest with you. I know that's obvious. That's the obvious thing said done, but I think you go to Leeds and you can put maybe 4 or 5 past them.
Tune in for the preview of that game, because we're going to be going through the lineup, I hope, in that game. And I agree with you. We've got to go attacking in that game.
Not only that, the one thing that can ease the pain, some would say, is the fact that you've listed the players that could do like-for-like jobs of Caicedo. We've already established that we think like Isugu is more fitted to the Caicedo role than maybe an Andre Santos is. Maybe an Andre Santos is more of an attacking threat from that role. But one man who can play literally anywhere and put a shift in, put a performance in, is your double ganger, Big Reece James. What did you make of him yesterday? Reece is back, isn't he?
Look, I just said to my twin, bro, you are doing so well. You are doing so well. This is the thing. We didn't even list Reece in the options there, and he's probably the best one. He's probably the best deputy.
11 out of 12 duels won for Reece James yesterday. Carried the ball into the final third 6 times, 4 fouls run, 1, 4 crosses, 2 big chances created, 2 times winning possession. He was class.
Do you know what? I was trying to rack my brain last night about a player that had the same skill set as a Reece James. And I don't think we've had a player anywhere near his ability since Essien.
Yeah.
If you think about it, Essien was one of those players that he was a tank, he could hold on to the ball. He was a bulldozer as well, wasn't he?
Are you making the link? Because Essien used to sometimes play right back as
well.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. Like, I'm trying to think of a player that is the proxy of Reece James. And this is the thing. We had a moment where we were saying, is Reece James ever going to be fit and available for Chelsea? And is he ever going to be able to get back to the level that he needs to do at Chelsea? And I was really worried about that because he'd had consistent injuries and I didn't think he would ever quite reach the heights that we had been promised when we were seeing Reece James under Frank Lampard and Tommy as well, right? And now I think Reece James has not been performing as well as he is right now ever in his career. I think he's at the pinnacle of his career and I think he's still got time to get better. And again, if you're not a Chelsea fan, you don't quite understand how good this boy actually is. And I think more and more people are starting to realise that they should have had him in their England 11s. They should have had him in the England squads and that he has been criminally underrated. And I do think we'll be talking at the end of the season and we'll be going, the best right back in the league is obviously Reece James and he will be in the team of the season. Like, what player will displace him? Timber isn't as good as Reece James. The Arsenal fan just said he was better. Yeah. Reece James was better than Timber, right? It's not going to be a Man City player. They concede goals left, right, and centre. It's not going to be Frimpong. It's not going to be Szoboszlai.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Jed Spence at Spurs. So who's it going to be?
No,
So
exactly.
he's the elect for me in terms of team of the season at right back.
So overall, to come away from it, to cap it off, because we're going to get into a Leeds preview, how are we feeling? How are we feeling coming off the back of that display?
Can I throw this back to you? Because I feel like I've been quite vocal about how proud I am of the boys. Go on. How do you feel about it? Because we've not had a review from you, so I'm interested to know.
2 points dropped, in my opinion.
Yep.
I'm disappointed in it overall. I think that context will give you everything, and I think that once you say to me, right, okay, the game played, it happened, you missed it, I'm going to tell you something. You played for like an hour-ish, maybe not just that, but, not far off, with 10 men against this Arsenal side, against an Arsenal side that are top of the league, that are supposed to be feared, and that apparently are much better than Chelsea because a different set of fixtures saw them beat Bayern Munich when we lost to them, even though that doesn't really mean that much. If you want to use that argument, we can use it about PSG last season. Clearly, we were more successful than you. So, if you want to take it on that, with the context, you can always go, yeah, of course. Well, you're going to be kind of happy. You still took a point from the game. You're the team that people are talking about coming away from the game. No one's coming away from Arsenal with their head held that high. No one's going, here, a brilliant game for Arsenal. No one's saying that. But you're saying it about 4 or 5 Chelsea players at this moment in time. So you have to be happy. But at the same time, the whole us being in a title race, us being as good as the big teams in the league, that's not new to me. This isn't news to me. I already knew this. So really, on my expectations of what I already knew, am I disappointed off the back of yesterday's result? Yeah, I think we could have moved in closer, and I would have liked to have moved back above Man City in the league.
But this is mental to me, right, about being disappointed about that result, right? Because I think that result proved that we are there. And I think what that result proved more than anything is that we're not 2 or 3 years away. Like, we're close now. We might be in the race now. We are in the race, right? So to leave that game and be down in the dumps and pessimistic about our season and our performances, I think is just the wrong way to look at it. I think you've got to look at it now and go, we made Arsenal look stupid. If it wasn't for Anthony Taylor, we'd be right up there and we'd be winning it, and then we would be right behind them. And what we can now do is take this platform, try and go into those games that we aren't winning, like the lower teams in the league, actually put in really good performances against them, take the game to them, get goals early, and then the season can go from there. I'm more positive about where we are right now than I have been for the entirety of the season. And even though we might have a few results now that we aren't expecting, I still think the general momentum now is that we're in a positive direction. And I feel like we will be third, second, first. And if we're third, second, first, it's going to be a good season.
What would you rather? Start the season looking like an idiot and finish it looking really clever, or start it looking really clever and finish looking like an idiot?
First choice.
I think we're going to finish this season both looking like we've got a lot of knowledge on Chelsea. At least on Chelsea, if not the whole Premier League. But people, we are going to get into a Leeds preview. So we're going to record that right now. Make sure you watch that when it comes out. Smash a like on the video. We will see you all in the next one.